So now I'm on this one, and I'd like everybody to turn around and please join me on my Facebook. I go live every night and 8 o'clock Arizona time, and I do a lot of tweeting, and a lot of chats, kind of thing. I guess you call it chats. And the thing is that there's a lot of things that I have come up and I try to talk to people about. And the thing of it is, sometimes it seems like I'm all over the place, but when you really think about it, it all goes back. It cycles back to the same thing. It cycles back to what it says in the Constitution. And what is the most important? Now, there's another guy out there named John Fitzpatrick. Now I'll tell you how two candidates should actually act. We complement each other. We talk. And he is running for president too. And he is running in the same political platform party I am. But it's not. So we're opponents. But yet we have conversations. We have reasonable, intelligent conversations. We don't put each other down. He's a good man. He's really good. And if he wins, he's going to make a good president. You know. Well, we've all both said that whoever makes that up there, the other one wants to be the running mate because we see things alike. We understand one another. He has good ideas, some real good ideas, and so do I. You know, and corporate America don't like that. They don't like somebody. We're a force to be reckoned with alone, but together we're a force in nature that can't be stopped. Speaking of nature, you know, children in the United Kingdom the other day protested against climate change. Now these are children. Look at this. And I'm going to tell you, I'm YouTube and on Facebook. I said the same thing. I'm going to tell you here. You know, a man once told me, a wise man once told me, you know, older does not make you wiser; it makes you slower. It's something I had said, and he thought it was pretty smart. And he says, I says, I'm not trying to freaking offend you. He says, older does not mean wiser; it just means slower. So we had to turn around and catch up with the kids here. They seem to have it already on ball about it. They really know what the heck's going on, and they need us. The older generation, they're supposed to be wiser, to stand with them because they are wiser. We have children here in the United States protesting against for gun control. Now, yet the other day, another freaking mass shooting, 39th this year. The only difference between this guy and the others is that he had an illegal gun. They had given him originally legal, but when they did a deeper background check on him, they turned around, they pulled his right to have the firearm. Unfortunately, it was a day late and dollar short. The man already had the firearm and he shouldn't have it to begin with. And this is what we need to stop. People who do not deserve to have a firearm should not have one. Now, does this make me, a gun control freak? No, I own my own firearms. Hey, I own firearms, and every one of them I had a background check on. Every single one of them I've had a background check. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. You know. And you guys out there, if you don't think you should have a firearm, please get rid of them. If you think you're going to use that to do something horrible like this guy did, don't even think about it. Get rid of it. Don't think, quit. Now there was a story on the news last night before last about how they thought that the children of primarily white young men got causing these, and no father figure, you know, feeling like they don't have anything to, they're not recognized for anything, and that they're angry. Well, I'm going to tell you a little story. I didn't have a father. My father died when I was 5. I had a guy named Jack McQueenie who was going to marry my mother, and it was the closest thing I had of a father since he died. He met my mother when I was 14 and he died when I was 16. Again, no father. I was told I could not go to a college prep, even though I had, the highest, I was on the honor roll, even though I excelled in math and science. I wanted to be an astronaut or a scientist. They said, no, your kind is going nowhere and you're going to trade school. You're not going to go to a prep school. You're going to go to a trade school. Well, that made me angry. Angry enough to cause a mass shooting? Hell no. I talked to my friends about it. I said, I busted my ass and I got nowhere. I had to become an undercover nerd. That's how bad it was in my high school. You didn't want to be a nerd. My high school, you're a nerd, you're going to get your ass whooped daily. So I became an undercover nerd. Of course, some of the bad guys didn't know that I was a nerd, and they turned around and they came to me when they needed help. But nobody wanted to cross me. Because not only could I was a nerd, but I knew how to fight. You grew up in the freaking slums, you learn how to do that. I am that guy that they called Good Will Hunting. Yes, I played around with the guys from Harvard. I thought they were morons. Still do. I read all the books they read. And yes, I did come Southie. These 3 projects, I was in Southie for a very long time. So yeah, I am. In fact, my second wife called me up when she saw the movie and says, you got to see this movie. It's about you. First time she's ever complimented me. Now, this is my second wife who has never gave me a compliment in her, since I've known her. She says, this is a story about you. And I watched it. There's a lot of us out there. A lot. A lot of kids that are really smart, but they grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and they don't got a chance. You see, it comes back to that. Education. That's part of the Constitution. It says you're supposed to get for the tranquility, the security, and the general welfare of the public. And education is that. Free medical. Another thing, there's 3 words again. Safety, security, and the general welfare. There it is, the Constitution, in the beginning. You have all kinds of rights. First freaking, amendment starts off with that no religion shall be in control of the government. Separation of church and state, right there. Right below that, it says freedom of religion. That very next line, it says freedom of religion. This means that what they're saying, what the politicians are saying is totally illegal. It's unconstitutional, and it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick to make you frightened. The immigrants are coming. They're going to rape, murder, and pillage and burn. Over 15,000, homicides in violent crimes last year. All of them by U.S. citizens. 39 so far mass shootings this year, all U.S. citizens. They only found 4 immigrants out of the 15,000 plus. They were immigrants. 0 out of over 360, almost 3, I think it was 367 mass shootings, 0 were immigrants. None of them. Now your drug dealers are getting in here, and how they get in here? They're U.S. citizens. These cartel members that came in from Mexico, they're U.S. citizens. Now, how did they get that? Well, there's a little thing that they, these places play games with, that your government has come up with. They invest $150,000 in this country and they get their citizenship. That's why your immigrants can't get it, because it's $150,000 they don't have. So your freaking, your cartels came in here. Your MS-13, who also has the money to buy their citizenship, came in here. They're rounding up all the immigrants who don't have that kind of money, and they're shipping them off, and they're filling your head full of lies. That's right, lies. You're more apt to be raped, murdered, or robbed by a U.S. citizen than an immigrant. That's right. 15,000 times more likely. That's a lot. You are 100% more likely to have a mass shooter be a U.S. citizen than any immigrant. So what are we doing about that? We're making a national emergency because some poor son of a bitch needs a freaking home and wants a better life? No. We're blaming them for what's going on in our country. They're making you hate each other in the future. And then you got, it's the Republicans' fault, it's the Democrats' fault. The Republicans are screaming, the shutdown was all because of the Democrats. It wasn't. The Republicans owned the Senate and Congress when they shut down, and the president was a Republican. So it's on you guys. But it's not the Republican people that caused this problem. It's you freaking morons that are in office that are no longer supposed to have a political party. Once you raise your hands, once you become sworn in, you're no longer a Democrat or Republican, you serve all equally. You don't serve just the Republicans. You don't serve just the Democrats. You don't serve just the freaking independents. You serve all equally and fairly in accordance with the Constitution. A Constitution, you got a bad habit of turning around and trying to renege. The president is guilty of treason in accordance with the first 4 articles of the Constitution. Oh, and that 14th Amendment he wanted to get rid of, which actually describes what he's done as treason. That's right, folks. That 14th Amendment you thought he was trying to get rid of because of the birthing rights. He wanted to get rid of because it identified him as a traitor. That's right. That's a fact. Read it. Don't read just the first few lines about the right for birth. Read about what it talks about treason. There's 4 amendments of the Constitution that says you got the right to vote. Nobody can take that right from you. Once you hit the age of 18, if you were born in this country or if you're a naturalized citizen, you have that right to vote. No one can take it away from you. This voter's registration is a crock. It's a fake. It's a fraud. It's to turn around and call you, to separate you, to freaking use as a weapon against you. You have the right to vote no matter what. You're born with that. That's why they call it a right, not a privilege. It's a privilege to serve this country. It's a privilege to be governor, be senator, be a congressman, be a man. It's a privilege to be president of the United States. And it is an honor to serve those who put you there. Not just one party, but all the citizens. It is an honor to serve every citizen, no matter who they are. No matter what your religion, your national origin, your color, your race. Read Constitution, people. Because if they start taking one right, now they've been taking right after right after right away from you. Because nobody bothers to take the time to read the Constitution. That's what you got to do. Climate change is a real thing. And according to the Constitution, the United States government should be busting their ass to change it, not help it. But to change it, to reverse it. That is a sworn duty of the President of the United States who has reneged on it, who has defied the Constitution. By the way, his executive order to try to change the freaking Constitution is an act of rebellion against the Constitution. And that is treason. That's right. Everything I want to do is in accordance with the Constitution. It follows in line with the Constitution. People say, what do I want to do for you? I want to bring the Constitution. I want you to have free school, free medical. I want you to have the right to pray in any way you chose. I want to bring you back the Constitution. That's what I want. That's what I'm offering. I make no false promises. I'm not going to say that only I can do it. I'm saying we can do it. Not one man. A president is just a title. He may make the policies, but you're the ones who carry it out. We can make the changes. We can bring back the Constitution. We can save our planet. We can get our children the best education in the world, which we are no longer. We had the worst education in the entire world. or close to the worst education. We're the bottom of the list on our education, which is horrifying. The richest, most powerful nation in the world. Now, how am I going to do that? Where's the money going to come from? Oh, I already have a plan for that. And bring down the deficit. I'm going to make these freaking rich people pay what they should have been paying all along. That trickle-down effect was trickling down and was a flood into their pockets and nothing for us. 500,000 to a million, 35% tax. A million to 500 million, 50% tax. 500 million up, 70% tax. Nobody gets away. No shell companies. Anything that, once we find they have a profit and they don't pay tax, they're going to jail. We're seizing that property and we're giving it to the workers. Why? They didn't make that money, people. You did. They didn't bust their ass. You did. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some out there that didn't. Some did really work from the bottom up, and they understand. Those who work from the bottom up realize, like Bill Gates, that they need to pay the tax because they know the social services are important. Medicaid, Medicare are important. Free medical for everybody should be a law, and it is a law in accordance with the Constitution. They are breaking the Constitutional law when they tell you got to pay for medical. They breaking the Constitutional law when they tell you got to pay for school. That's against the Constitution of the United States. It's unconstitutional. Not socialism, it's unconstitutional. You should have to pay. You get a better education, you become a better worker. You become to the point where you can do more. Some people like what they're doing. You got people that love to be mechanics. You have people that love to be doctors, love to be, my daughter likes, likes being a waitress. She's not getting paid enough, but she likes to be a waitress. She enjoys it, and she's a hard worker. Which reminds me, if you are at a restaurant, remember, that person serving you, most of their freaking money comes from their tips. They don't get paid minimum wage. My daughter makes $7.50 an hour, or $8 an hour. I can't remember now. I think she got a raise. I think it's $8 an hour. But that's still under minimum wage when everybody else is making 12. The rest of her money comes from tips. So please, people, tip your waitress and tip them well, because they got to split that up with other people. Doesn't make any sense, but they do. But they enjoy it, or they wouldn't do it. You got people who work in fast food places. Some of them enjoy it, have fun. They enjoy the conversation. They enjoy, seeing so many different people. Stop hating each other because of your difference in religion, or your difference in language, your difference in color. Because I want to tell you something. I've been all over the world. And one of the things that I find so fascinating is people that are different. Because it makes the world interesting. Well, they don't pray the same way we do. No, of course they don't. They have their own way of praying, but they pray. That's right. And you people think that, God is the only God. Let me remind you something about God. That's a translation. It's a translation from a minute, think about it. What's it called? Give me a minute, I'll think about it. No, I drew a blank. Hey, I hate when that happens. Everybody has that happen to them. It was translated from Greek. And Greek was translated from Hebrew. And Hebrew into, what was the next one up? Italian I can't remember offhand. Anyway, it's a translation. It's all a translation. Bible's a translation. Oh, Roman. That's what it was. Translated into Roman. Whatever. There's a special word for it. I just can't think of it offhand. And then into English. So it's all a translation, people. Some people call him Yahweh, Jehovah, Ishma, Allah, Buddha. They have all kinds of names. It's all the same God. Apaches call him Yosin. The Yenuzguni. Yosin is the creator of all things. The Yenuzguni is his son, Jesus. Jesus is the translation. He came from Jesus. See, people, you're going at the people because they pray in a different way because you read a translation. You got to realize that the Bible is a translation. Oh, and by the way, I've read the Bible more than a dozen times. So if anybody wants to challenge me about the Bible, I'll challenge them. I'll bring it up. And I'm going to tell you one thing I found out about the Bible. It's not about hellfire and brimstone and to fear God. It's a book of love. How many freaking chances did they give the Egyptians? 10 chances. When Sodom and Gomorrah, they find me one righteous person and I will walk away. I will not hurt them. One. He bargained with Lot. Lot bargained with God. And God turned around and he loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son to resurrect our sins. It's a book of love, buddy. People, it's a book of love. So stop throwing it around like it's a weapon. I'm going to tell you what, God's really pissed off at you about that. I guarantee God would not like you to use it as a weapon. No religion should be used as a weapon. People say, well, it's Muslims. It's not the Muslims. It's a freaking bunch of maniacs. It's like, even in Christianity, you got, crazies. That's right, you do. You got your Catholics, got the pedophiles, and, then you got your Baptists that freaking think everything in the world is freaking, is evil if they don't freaking, pray their way. So please, people, stop hating each other. Who cares what the religion is? It just makes it interesting. If you sat down and listened to them, it's fascinating. You try to learn another language, it's fascinating. I spoke 10 languages fluently. I could read and write 4 of them. I had a working knowledge of another 10. I now speak, Old Apache. That's 11. I find it fascinating because once you learn the language, you get to talk to them about their beliefs, traditions, their history. And it's not like you find in the books because then you get their first-hand accounts. All right. Well, I want to thank you for watching. Please join me on Facebook, and I will talk to you again. Thank you. Oh, there it was. Mm-hmm.